After a fantastic race in the land of cheese last week, our big block modifieds make a long trip across the virtual country to the baking deserts of California. This is the 5th race of the season and the final one before our winter break to end out 2023. So the drivers will be looking to fly like fighter jets in the shadows of Edwards Air Force Base. Welcome, everybody, to the newest addition to iRacing, Kern County Raceway Park. Kevin Harvick's Kern Raceway, to be proper. Joe Donahue and Jonathan Howe on the mics tonight to bring you 75 laps of action for the Beat the Heat night with the BRP iRacing series. Jonathan, this is a new track for all of us with the series. What do you know about this racetrack, and what do you expect from it tonight?
Well, Joe, I'm mostly expecting... I don't know what to expect. I guess that's the best way to put it, because as little experience as we have watching this racetrack in iRacing, these drivers have even less experience racing on it. I heard more than a few members of this league say that this is the first time they're going to be driving on the track at all tonight. Some folks just getting some laps in now. So, Joe, I really don't know what to expect, other than I feel like this is not going to be a track where you can just rip the outside. I think the middle groove is where you're going to see the most speed tonight, and I think you're going to see some passing down low.
I would agree with that. I think the top's going to be a little dominant a long way through this event. Running the bottom on this racetrack is very difficult. I was fortunate with some time before the broadcast here to run a couple laps around with some of our drivers who are racing tonight. Adam Hilton is one of them, as you see him going monster jam on the infield. He ran into another car I was out there with, Tyler Joshimbowski. And the bottom is one of the hardest bottoms to hit I think we are going to have all season long. It's kind of like if you took the bottom line of Lima Land and didn't put a really steep banking on the high side. At least that's kind of how I felt, although I personally enjoyed it. So maybe some of these guys will as well. But the top side does seem like it's going to be a little bit more dominant. And then this is a flatter racetrack, and 75 laps around it should give us plenty of time to work in the top side as well as the bottom. But Jonathan, you know, you say that about the top side. I'm curious about how you think it's going to flow over the course of the night. Is it going to stay dominant the whole time? Is the bottom going to come into play significantly, or is it just going to be a place to go get extra grip? Like, how are you feeling about the ebb and flow of it?
What I'm seeing is a lot of diamonding of the corners, right, where guys are kind of going in a little bit low or a little bit straighter and then hitting the outside right in the middle, just like we're seeing with Ryan Beagle there. You might see it here with Brandon Plank as well. See, where Plank just ran is kind of where I'm expecting most drivers to go. I think it's not going to – I think going to that extreme outside by the halfway point of this race, I think that's going to open up a lot of potential moves to your inside, especially with how much these guys are pointing the cars in the middle of the corner. You can see it with Beagle that last time by. He just kind of was in the apex of the corner, it felt like still, and is trying to point down the front stretch. I think, yes, the top will be dominant at points, Joe, but I just think all the passing is going to happen down low for that very reason. That's why I've got a guy like Gavin Isley circled on my kind of ones to watch list here, because we know how good he is at running the bottom of the racetracks. Most times we call him the catfish because he's down there trying to make something happen. And I wonder if he's got something in the bag that might be more useful than some other drivers.
I definitely think that's a great point, Jonathan. That's one of the guys that we know we coined the catfish term for him a couple seasons ago because of the way he drives. So definitely going to be one to watch tonight, as well as obviously Cody Higbee, who's been on an absolute tear for the start of this season. Dominic Roselli is currently at the top of the charts as practice is coming to a close. It is kind of surprising. We didn't really expect to see Dominic number one like that so quickly into this season. The rookies really have been strong so far into this one. We're watching along with Dean Reynolds here, and we just want to make a shout out to him with this special paint on tonight because this is our final race before Christmas and New Year's. So Dean put a little bit of special paint on that 79 car. I know he's got a couple people watching every night with us, his father Jim and his girlfriend Megan. We appreciate the continued support from all of the people who come into this series and all of our partners with it. The practice session's about 15 seconds away from closing. And then, Jonathan, it will be time for our 2-lap, 3-minute qualifying session to start off the Beat the Heat night here at Kern County Raceway Park. What's at the top of your Christmas list for next week, Jonathan?
Ooh, you know, see, I don't have much of a Christmas list this year, Joe. I got pretty spoiled. My parents actually kind of hooked me up with a little bit of a trip. We all went down to Vegas a couple weeks back, and I got to go see U2 at the Sphere, and I'm a massive U2 fan, so my parents were kind of like, okay, this is your birthday and your Christmas gift. Don't worry about it. We got you. Just make sure you bring some spending money, which I did, and I did not leave Vegas with very much of that spending money left, as is kind of per usual on Vegas. But what about you, Joe? What's on the list for you?
What's on the top of my list? I think the top of my list this year was what did I say? I really got goofy about Dr. Squatch soaps. I tried one and I enjoyed it, so I asked for some soap. And obviously anything racing's good by me. Big into mini wing panels from the sprint cars, and if they I think actually some of the modified guys are now making like mini side panels to sell. So maybe have to add that in really quick to the end of the Christmas list here. Is what, we got a week? That's plenty of time. That'd be fine.
Plenty of time.
Yeah. So we're in the qualifying here. We're a good ways into it. Right now, the guy who we gave a shout-out for running the Grinch car here, Dean Reynolds, is at the top. There are a couple of guys, and as I say it, he gets beat. Dominic Rosselli restores his top spot in qualifying, and as I try to get to him, he disappears from the stream. So there's Cody Higbee, currently 4th. He's kind of come across the line again. We'll see if he can bump himself up a little further. He will not, so Higbee's going to sit 4th as it currently stands, just trying to cycle through and get as many cars on screen as we can. Here's one of those new rookies, Jonathan, that we've been talking about every week, Nick Sheridan, very strong driver, and well, his first qualifying lap really doesn't show it as Brandon Plank goes to the top.
Yeah, you know, we've been talking about Nick a lot because he's given us something to talk about. He's constantly in the mix. We'll see how this it doesn't seem like he's got a lot of speed in it for qualifying. Again, new track for a lot of these guys. I'm kind of unsure of what to expect from qualifying. I think really what we're going to see is drivers changing things up, learning throughout the race. I don't think there's much to learn in a 2-lap session about how fast or how slow you need to attack corners or whatever else. But Jamie Porter, last time we saw the 45 out on the racetrack, he was a winner because I do believe he missed last week's race, if I'm not mistaken, Joe.
That is correct. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we'll see what speed he's got from the 45. I don't know where we'll see the 45 fall on the standings as we wait for the ticker to update. Kind of mid-pack there. Not a ton of speed, but it's a really tight field from about the 8th spot on back through the end of the field.
Yes, it is fairly tight, and Jamie Porter now with his second lap goes all the way up to 5th place, so that's a big improvement for the 45 car. We got 19 drivers, or excuse me, I think we got 18 in the race tonight. We are missing 2 names that are synonymous with this series, as Brandon Plank will be the fastest qualifier at the end of this session. We are missing Matt DeRitter. He is on his way back and resetting up his life as he finished up a semester of college and headed home. So he unfortunately was not capable of making it this evening. And Corby Daniels is going to be running as race control this evening. So we're going to see 18 drivers, and neither of them are the 2 owners of this league. And that's perfectly fine. Tonight we are going to run Kern County as is, and we're going to try to bring you the starting grid. We attempt to see if we've got the whole grid, and we do. Awesome. Jonathan, I got the starting grid ticker to work. Why don't you bring us the starting grid of heat race number 1?
It's going to roll off like this, Joe. Brandon Plank on pole with Dean Reynolds to his outside. Jamie Porter has already got a feature win on the year. He is going to start up in third. Gavin Isley, the Catfish, will be coming from the outside row. We'll see if he gets to the bottom early, if he makes that outside work. Tyler Joshimbowski in the 88 is going to line up in fifth with Tyler Pachelski to his outside. So it's the Tyler and Tyler show in row number 3. Row number 4 on the inside, that's Pat Reiser in the 33. To the outside, that is my co-host of the Southern Ontario Dirt Show podcast, Travis Cunningham, piloting the podcast car, if you will, in the 90. And Dean Meitzer going to roll off in ninth. 9 cars set to go in this, the first heat of, I believe, 2. We're going to have 2 heats tonight.
Yes, so 9 drivers in 2 heat races. It's a little bit thinner field than we saw last week. It's going to be 2 heat races of 8 laps and then a 75-lap feature tonight from Kern County. Hopefully these guys can give each other enough room, as Brandon Plank, the winner from last week at Cedar Lake, will lead us to the green with Dean Reynolds to his outside out of turn number 4. And they go, and the racing action is underway tonight. And into the first set of turns. Brandon Plank's going to use the bottom. Dean Reynolds going to have the momentum. Up top, I think, well, we still got a good battle into the corners here, Jonathan, to end out this first lap.
Yeah, it's going to be tricky to see what line can really prevail. As you see, Reynolds looks like he might have nosed ahead for the lead at the line. Yes, in fact, he did. But now Plank down on the low side edges ahead out of the corner. Into 3 and 4. Look at Gavin Isley having a shot to the outside. Thought about making it 3 wide. He backs out of it smartly. Brandon Plank, I believe, is going to lead this lap. No, it's Reynolds.
Reynolds still holding that momentum and using it to get at the line. If you can keep that up the whole way through the heat race, that's fine, but I just don't think that's a sustainable way to take the lead here. Gavin Isley is there as well, and Brandon Plank now going to move ahead, single file, and he's going to slide up the racetrack and block off that line. And how about Jamie Porter? He goes 4th to 2nd in the middle of the turn, and just as I say it, he's going to lose both of those in 3 and 4.
He's going to try to fight back on the inside. Down the front stretch they go, side by side, wheel to wheel. Porter can't keep it locked down on the bottom, but he gets a good run on exit, putting more pressure on Reynolds. Isley is the one who looks really fast, and he's making speed up on the high side of the racetrack. I'm watching in 1 and 2, Joe, to see just how much these guys are diamonding the corner, because if that is the fastest line, I think we're going to see that middle apex really wear out fast, and that might not just affect just the racetrack, but also the new tire model for the iRacing game.
Yeah, the new tire model for these cars is going to mimic whether you're racing on the tacky stuff or the slicker stuff, and you got to be careful with them the whole way through. A 75-lap heat race, even though this is a short track, that'll be an interesting factor. The white flag is out. Heat race number 1. There's only one more time around the racetrack, and Brandon Plank has this all but in the bag as he's going to come through 3 and 4. That 77X car, we saw him win a lot of stuff last season, and this season he's turning it around. He wins the first heat race. Dean Reynolds just barely edges out a great race to the line over Jamie Porter and Gavin Isley to finish this one out.
Yeah, that was really good stuff between those 2 drivers, both finishing up inside the top 4, gaining some bonus points for that effort. But, Joe, I'm worried that they may have woken the sleeping giant in Brandon Plank as we see the grid for heat number 2 pop up. Dominic Roselli in the 80s, been fast so far here tonight. He rolls from pole with Ryan Beagle, last year's champion, to his outside. Cody Higbee, who's been the dominant driver in the series. I don't think he's had anything less than a podium, I think, the entire way through, if not at least nothing less than a top 5 in that 97 machine. Anthony Roselli's going to line up in 4th in the 7. Ryan Susi has the 38 in the inside of row number 3, with Jeff Sharp in the 28 to his outside. Adam Hilton lines up in 7th. Al Slate is going to pilot the number 2 machine in 8th spot. And starting shotgun on the field, the rookie, the 045, is Nick Sheridan.
Kind of surprised to see him starting all the way back there. We got the 2 Rosellis up in the 1st and 2nd row, so not quite surprised to see them so far up at the front. Nor are we surprised to see Ryan Beagle starting from the front row. He's very strong, the reigning champion of this series. And Cody Higbee also been very strong so far this season. And by very strong, I mean pretty darn dominant. He's won a lot and been in 2nd when he wasn't winning. So it will be interesting to see what he can do from 3rd starting spot. That's always a good place to be, as the green flag will come out under the control of the 80 car Dominic Roselli. And 8 more heat race laps. Let's get it going.
Roselli with a great jump, going to be unchallenged through the first set of corners there. Really impressive start for that 80 machine. But here comes Cody Higbee to the inside of Ryan Beagle. He's going to try to take the second spot up out of corner number 4 and down the front straightaway he goes. Can't quite clear the 84, but a good battle there for second nonetheless.
And the leader, Dominic Roselli, gives him enough of a gap here. It's Higbee to the top and Beagle to the middle and Anthony Roselli to the bottom. They're almost 3 wide out of the corner as they finish the second lap around. Higbee brings a ton of momentum into the corner, slides all the way up the racetrack and tries to diamond off. It doesn't look like as much of a diamond as maybe I was expecting that time, but you got to go where the grip is, and Higbee is finding it right now.
I'm really watching Anthony Roselli, and I'm liking what I'm seeing from that 7 car. He's really working the bottom of the racetrack and still getting some pretty decent drive off. You see the 84 kind of gap him there, but through the middle of the corner, he's not getting completely bogged down like we may have seen. So I almost wonder if that's something to watch, Joe, is if that bottom line, if it just kind of wears in just right to get the cars rotating maybe after 10, 15 laps, it come feature time.
Well, I'll tell you one thing I tried out when I was practicing with this racetrack a little bit earlier, and I don't know if it was really faster or not, but I'm kind of a goofball, so I like doing it, was I would get my left front up on the berm and kind of use that anti-angle to spin the car around a little bit. We got a battle for the lead here. I'll see if Higbee maybe tries to use that to his advantage, or maybe not. But that might be a thing that you could see people doing, and also getting the left rear up on it as we go through the race, because the left rear will get to catch extra grip down there. 1 lap to go at the line. Dominic Roselli just barely nudging out. This is a great race to the end, and Jonathan, I'll hand it to you as they're coming down the backstretch for the final time.
Final set of corners ahead. Higbee's got one more shot at him. Where does he go? He uses that inside line, gets the power down, noses ahead at the stripe. Oh, that was awfully close to call. I believe it's Roselli. Yes, Kelly over.
I was wondering if I lost you, Jonathan, or if we lost...
I can hear you now, so I don't know if it was me or if it was you, but either way, it was frozen on my end for a hot second there.
Yeah, I think it was on, that might have been on my end there, but that was what was that? 4 thousandths of a second to win that heat race. Woo! That was, I think, the closest, if you count heat races and features, the closest we have ever seen 2 cars finish in this series ever. So that was pretty freaking cool, and it brought us to the close and to the 5-minute warm-up session before the race tonight. Jonathan, we got to see 2 8-lap races, and the track's been used up a bit. What's your analysis on how the track's shaped up? Is it what you expected it to be, and what isn't what you expected it to be about the racing we saw?
So what I'm seeing, Joe, is that the top side, I think, is definitely going to go away by the end of this race. I think it's too much of an obvious point to run. I kind of think, we've seen some freight train races already on the year, but I think if you want to move forward in this field, you're going to have to make that bottom side work. I saw Cody Higbee kind of run almost like a lower diamond, I'm going to call it, for a lack of a better term, where, again, he diamonded the corner but used the middle groove as the apex point as opposed to riding it all the way up to the wall where the corner would meet in the diamond shape. So that seemed effective at times. I think there's passing to be had down low, and for me, I think this is going to be a real test of who can defend positions really well, because as much as you're going to want to race this racetrack, with how tight this field is going to be, I think you're going to be racing the competition a lot, and there's going to be a lot of defense out there.
Defense is definitely something I would expect as well. You put race cars on a tight track like this, and the defense it's much more significant than if you go somewhere, say, like Port Royal or Knoxville that's wide. You can very easily get in front of other cars. And one guy who is really good at that isn't racing tonight to show it, is Matt DeRitter. He's very good at controlling the car behind him. So we'll see if anybody else can pick that up, too. Higbee's not too shabby at it either. Isley's been pretty good at it in the past. We got plenty of guys who can do it, but we'll see if any of them do it here at Kern County. We want to make a quick second to shout out our partners with the series here. We are always trying to give them the credit they deserve. MDR Designs, Murder Graphics, the Southern Ontario Dirt Show, Creative Turnings, Dig Race Products, 47 Technology. We have a lot of great people that come out every week and support our drivers as well as the BRPtv streams. Shout out to all of the Meitzler gang fans we've got watching along. We talked to Dean before the race. He's got a lot of good friends who want to come out and support him, so we appreciate that on his behalf and our own. And just keeping things float. It's been fun, and we get 2 weeks off, which will be nice to spend the holidays with family. But I do love me some racing, Jonathan, so I'm always happy to come back when it's time.
I think the biggest thing with tonight's event, is we've seen a bit of a chaotic series at times. There's been some guys with lack of give and take, we'll say. It's been a bit crazy. There's been some situations that have made other drivers upset. I feel like these guys are going to just want to get through one relatively clean race, get into the winter break, and then go like heck for the remaining portion of the schedule as we see cars colliding down the front stretch here. And that just goes to show you how tight things are going to get up off these corners tonight, Joe. I really think that is going to be where the most give and take is going to need to be practiced, is your slide jobs, your exits on entry into the corner. You got to be careful not to tap into the guys, be careful not to send yourself into the berm. There's lots of places that could be problems tonight, Joe, but if you get just a little bit of time and space, you get a little bit of patience given and received by these drivers, I think we may get a pretty outstanding race. I'm really liking what I'm seeing from Kern County.
I agree. I think that this is going to be a racetrack that we are going to expect a little bit of carnage at. I don't know if that was a commentator's curse or if the guys heard you and wanted to prove you wrong, Jonathan, because right as you said that, we had a little bit of chaos. And I'd agree. I think we're all looking to have a good race tonight and enjoy or not enjoy this racetrack. I know some of the guys aren't really jiving with the facility as much as others, but that's okay. It happens. And we'll just have to wait and see. We got 18 cars to line them up, and we'll give a second to ATVO, and we can bring you the starting lineup for tonight's race. I'll start. I'll bring the top 10 to them. We'll start on the front row with the 77X car. He's out of New York in the traditional lacrosse dig race products machine. That's Brandon Plank. To his outside, going to be the rookie in car number 80 out of Monticello, New York. That's Dominic Roselli. Starting on the inside of row number 2, you got the number 79 Super Dirt Car Series car. That's Dino Dean Reynolds. And to his outside, the championship points leader right now, the number 97, is Cody Higbee. Starting in 5th place is Jamie Porter in the number 45 car for Beef Esports. And to his outside, the reigning champion, number 84 car, is the big dog, Ryan Beagle. Starting in 7th place, in car number 18, he's in the Performance Automotive Showtime Custom Wraps car. That's the gas man, Gavin Isley. And to his outside is going to be Anthony Roselli in the 7. Starting 9th, Tyler Joshabowski in the 88T. And to his outside in the MDR Designs machine is the 28, Jeff Sharp. Starting 11th is the number 21P, Tyler Pachalski. To his outside is going to be Nick Sheridan in the 45S. Made a couple spots up in his heat race. That's exciting to see how that will translate. Starting 13th is the Teach, Pat Reiser. And 14th is going to be Alan Slight in the Slight Electrical Machine. Then we got Dean Meitzler and Ryan Susi in row number 8. And row number 9 goes Travis Cunningham in the 90 on the inside. And on the outside is Adam Hilton in the 3A. 75 laps, 18 drivers, 1 winner. And it's all going to start with the flagman's flag waving and green flags out. Let's see who gets it into turn number 1. It's going to be Roselli putting up a good charge here. Higbee on the outside as well. That momentum's going to hand it to the 80 car into turn number 3.
Really surprised that Plank ended up on the inside. I kind of thought that he may have chosen the outside for the initial start of this one. Oh, holding on to it. Higbee and Plank almost collide for a massive incident there, but Plank saves the car. After maybe a little bit of a netcode error. We've seen that be an issue before. I couldn't quite tell if there's actual contact there or we did see the netcode, like we've said.
Oh, boy, they're getting checked up in the middle of the corner. Josh Mbowski's all out of whack in there, too. And I think we're okay elsewise, going all the way back to the tail of the field just to check out how everybody's running. It's getting spaced out a bit here, but your leader, Dominic Rosselli, in the 80 car is showing him up right now. He has put about a half-second gap in between himself and Brandon Plank, who's now got challenged from the 97 car into turn number 1 again. We'll see if Higbee's got anything for him. Runs a little bit less of a diamond there. It didn't quite work out for him, Jonathan.
No, it didn't, but impressive run so far from D. Rose. Of all the rookies in the series, he's probably been the one who's had the quietest start to the campaign, but you can see tonight that either he's put in the work on Kern County or he just really is vibing with what is good this track has given to him tonight thus far. Brandon Plank, I really feel like we may have woken a sleeping giant after he had that issue a couple races ago with Jamie Porter, comes back, wins last week, and now I feel like 97 versus 77 is going to be one rivalry to watch the rest of the season. But don't count out the big dog. Ryan Beagle in 4th there, lurking just behind these two as they begin to battle over the 2nd spot.
Yeah, this will give everybody behind him, not even just Beagle, but this will give everybody an opportunity to catch up a little bit. They're perpetually stuck side by side right now. It's not going to help them with their lines in the corners. But even still, they seem to be catching Rosselli a little bit. And the one thing I want to say about D. Rose leading like he was is you just got to be careful with those tires. You don't want to burn them up too fast. We already mentioned it tonight. If you use up the tire and you run out, you're not going to have the grip and you're not going to have the speed. So hopefully Dominic Rosselli keeping track of that right now, but he is comfortably in the lead 10 laps into this race.
And at 75 laps in total distance, I believe, Joe, that they're going to be pretty safe in terms of blowing tires in the game. I know we've had some talk about some of the longer races on our calendar. Will the tires hold up? But tonight they should be fine, but you still want to take care of them as best as possible as we drop back through the field here. See a great battle shaping up. I believe this is for the 6th spot on the racetrack between Gavin Isley and as the yellow flies, we're going to have to wait to see the conclusion of Isley versus Porter there when we get back green. And we have I believe this might be for Ryan Susi. We'll see if we can get a replay here.
I think that's who it's for. Let me get this queued up and let's see if Susi was the one to bring it to us. Yes, he's going to be involved. And it's going to be Susi going into turn number 1 and then just not checked up enough. Hilton coming down. He diamonded that corner a lot earlier than a lot of the other guys have so far, Jonathan. And Susi was diamonding into it, and they met in the middle.
Yeah, almost looked like, I don't know if Hilton had to lift to avoid running into the back of Pat Reiser, but that almost kind of seemed like it had the makings of a chain reaction, kind of accordion effect, where Susi was expecting the cars in front of him to get through the corner a little bit faster than they ended up doing so. And we are going back green, I believe, in 1 lap.
We should be going green this time. They're going double file. I think we're ready to go here. Let's see. What Rosselli now does is he's got the inside line. That's an interesting point to make because he was on the outside at the original start of this race, but he controlled it like a veteran and very easily took the lead into turn number 1. Here is now Cody Higbee. Will he be chomping at the bit? He doesn't have the speed to do it.
Yeah, Higbee kind of caught snoozing in that outside lane, and it kind of worked for the 80 car there. As Rosselli, maybe not. Caution back out already has me wondering if maybe race control is going to call back that restart, or if there was an incident towards the back half of the field. We'll see here.
Only one way to find out. I think it might have gone to Cunningham if there was one. Yeah, there's going to be a incident here, and it's going to cost Travis Cunningham 2 spots on the grid. It is just getting run over by Ryan. Well, not run over, I should say. Just getting a tap in the back by Ryan Susi. And then, man, he almost left the track there, Jonathan.
Yeah, he was headed right for the exit of the facility there for a moment. And you can see the damage to the back bumper. We'll see if how much damage that race car really has to see if Travis can keep her rolling and at least trying to get back towards the front. He's been trying to play the game of positioning his car to avoid incidents, but that's a rare one where he was already towards the back of the field and kind of found himself in trouble.
Yeah, and that was just Susi coming off the corner a little bit hotter than he was and just kind of running out of room. That kind of stuff happens. And cautions breed cautions, Jonathan. We say that a lot of the time in racing, and definitely getting all stacked up like that caused that situation. That's why we're going to go single file on this restart here, and Dominic Rosselli will easily get to control us back to the green flag.
Back to the green flag, and again, D Rose with a great restart gives himself a couple car lengths down into corner 1 and 2, driving away from two of the favorites in this series, Cody Higbee and Brandon Plank. Plank back to the top side, Beagle working down low. Higbee about a half lane off the very bottom of the racetrack, and that's perfect for him to defend that second spot, as now Beagle's taking on the battle for third, has to back out of it there as Porter's up to fifth now as well.
And we got one around, and the yellow's going to come back out. Dean Meitzler in turns 1 and 2, going to bring us our third caution of the night. We'll have to pull this one back. I think this is going to be fairly simple. Does not look like there's a lot of damage on that car. Let's see what we got.
So we'll get the replay here. Another one towards the back of the field, Joe.
Yeah, that's...
Meitzler and Slate here.
Mm-hmm. Let's watch the contact here, Jonathan. I'm curious if it's going to involve Slide or if it's just going to be Meitzler on his own.
Ooh, looks like on his own. Maybe a little bit of help there from Hilton, but the 49 was kind of already in trouble as he caught way too much of that berm, and that sent him sliding, and then just a little love tap from the 3A of Hilton, and that was more than enough to get that 49 all the way around and bring us out. Yet another caution, as we've had, about 3 in a row here in about 5 laps. We're only on lap 23 of 75.
Correct. It's we've hit that point in the race. This happens sometimes. Dominic Rosselli, we're going back to double file now. We'll have to control another restart with Higbee on his outside. Still got Plank and Beagle right there, too. Then Jamie Porter and Dean Reynolds. Great run for the 79 car so far. Green flag's back out. Rosselli, man, another great restart for that 80 car.
What I'm seeing there, Joe, is it just looks like from the bottom groove, you don't have to rotate as much when you hit the gas, whereas it looked like Higbee, who when he's on the outside, he can't get the car to, as he makes a little tap to the wall there in that 97 machine, but he can't hit the gas because he's still got to rotate through the corner and stay with the leader. So I think that's why actually the inside is proving to be a bit of an advantage for these restarts.
Just for the moment here, at least, and it definitely helps when you go in the middle of the corners like they have been. That'll give you an advantage. Oh, there goes around in the back. We saw it. Adam Hilton got spun. The green flag, no, I was about to say it stayed out, but it did not. The yellow flag came out for it. We just caught it on the tail end of the screen there. Let's go ahead and we'll play it back one more time for ourselves as another yellow flag comes out. Great racing for a short period of time there, at least between Reiser, Hilton, Susie, and Slight. But we're going to watch, and it's the same thing that happened in the last caution. And this time, instead of being the boot, Adam Hilton was the spinner.
Although it doesn't even really look like Susie got any piece of him there. Again, could have been netcode. We've talked about that issue in the past. But even then, I honestly don't think Susie was close enough. I think Hilton just over-rotated on entry, and he was just trying to ride it out the entire time. And once he hit the exit, just couldn't hang on to that car any further, and he went around. So the bottom lane proven to be pretty tricky for some of these guys towards the back of the field.
Yeah, and it's the same thing that we've talked about for a couple weeks now. It's where you go into the corner and you got one guy going a little slower than the other in front, and oh man, they're stacking up on the restart even now too. It's just a difference in momentum, and one car comes into another, and that's how we get these yellows. We're back to green again. Nick Sheridan having some trouble. We don't get a yellow for it. And he's back underway with a significant amount of damage on that car. Nick Sheridan did not have this track on iRacing until about an hour ago. So tonight's a night where he's just going to try to survive.
Yeah, it seems to be the case for Nick, although he was running kind of mid-pack before he found himself in a little bit of trouble there. As we got up at the front, Dominic Rosselli now under fire from Brandon Plank, who's taken over the second spot. And the thing I'm seeing from Plank is that he knows how to make things work on the low side of the racetrack. He seems to be able to just get the car to rotate and not lose time on exit. Entry is one thing. All of these guys are capable of just bombing it into the corner. It's trying to make the line stick and still fire out of the corner with the same amount of speed as you can with the momentum on the top side. And Plank hasn't been able to do enough to take the lead yet, Joe, but I'm liking what I'm seeing from that 77X.
Well, I do too. I really like what he's been doing, but as I was watching the last 2 laps here, Dominic Roselli started moving his line a little bit, and you see him, he enters kind of in the middle of the corner, and he slides up to the top, and you can see where the track gets some grip back up there that he's able to rifle off of turn number 2. That is what put the gap back between himself and Plank. He was very much in position to get past, and he adjusted his racing line a little bit, and it has paid off as now Cody Higby's going to get a chance at Plank, and we move the battle from first back to second between the 77X and the 97.
And this could be one of those classic things, Joe, where you got maybe the very 2 best drivers in this field. I mean, it's tough to say because there's just so many guys who can win on any given night. But we've seen consistently Higby and Plank be the biggest threats in this BRPtv iRacing series. And once again, they find themselves fighting over spots towards the front of the field. But instead of fighting for the lead, they're fighting for second. And as long as they're doing that, Dominic Roselli can kind of just drive his race and race against the racetrack, do just enough to keep himself out in front, and that's what's going on right now.
Yep, and then another factor of that, Jonathan, is going to be once these guys figure it out who comes next to challenge Roselli, we go back to that situation we talked about before. Catching them's one thing and passing them's another. I think Higby and Plank seem to have a line that's different enough right now that they maybe could find a way around, but if Dominic were to react to the line that they're running correctly and would do that consistently, I don't think they're going to get around him.
No, I don't think so either, Joe. I'm really liking what I'm seeing from Roselli. He's just been so smooth, so consistent, hasn't put a wheel wrong yet. Again, I kind of questioned earlier in the race why he was choosing the outside for the restarts, but he's found something on the exit of the corner coming to the green that works for him. Under green, he's doing just enough to hold Cody Higby at bay, but Higby is starting to turn some fast laps, and he's really drawn in on that 80 car now.
He is. We're going to go on board with Cody Higby here and get a lap around Kern County as we go from the bottom of turn number 4. I see lap traffic up ahead. That's going to make this very interesting, Jonathan, something we haven't seen yet this season. As you watch, Roselli goes up. He hits that little bit where there's a grip there. He comes down in front and blocks Higby's line. And this time he's going to snooker him down and really pin him to the bottom and come up off the racetrack. And here goes Higby to the top side. We'll see if that works out for him. It doesn't look like it's going to. Roselli, well, now as I say it, here comes Higby.
I was going to say, Joe, you mentioned that, or I said that there hasn't been a wheel wrong, but I think when the 80 car moved down in front to take away that low line, that is exactly what Cody Higby was looking for. He drew him down to the bottom of the racetrack. Roselli played the block, and now he's going to get passed on the outside as Cody Higby gets the advantage. I don't know if the car is going away on the 80 of Dominic Roselli or if he's just searching around trying to compete with these guys, but that was a bit of a mistake. I think he should have just been sticking to the outside, running his line, and let Higby have to make the move on the inside. But now it's going to be the 80 car of Roselli who's got to put the chase back on our leader, Cody Higby. Yep,
and Higby's already put about a half a second in between himself and Roselli, at least on the straightaways. That lap traffic, you can hear them. That's Travis Cunningham and Nick Sheridan up there. They are within eyesight of the leaders. If you were to go on board with Higby, as we did before, you would once again see those two guys. In fact, just to prove the point, there you go. There's the gap to Travis Cunningham, who's currently running 18th of 18. All the cars still in this race. That's awesome. We like seeing that. And we are getting close to 25 laps to go, too, Jonathan.
25 to go, coming up this time by the stripe. Sheridan and Cunningham going to be the lap traffic that Higby sees first. And the way Higby's been passing cars, the Sheridan machine is in the wall heavy. Staying green for now. We'll see if that brings us out of yellow at all. I think at this point we're not going to see it now, Joe. I think they're just going to let the 45 race after he regathered it after putting it in the fence pretty hard there. Sheridan really struggling with this place, but again, you mentioned it, only about an hour's practice time, if even that, for him before taking the green flag here, and that makes a difference, Joe.
Oh, yes, it does, and especially for a track as unique as Kern County is. It's tight, flatter, and it's slicked off now. The shape isn't too terrible. It's not like Weed Sport or anything, but yeah. TC has been caught by the leader, so here comes Cody Higbee. We're following along with the 90 car, the Southern Ontario Dirt Show car. Oh, no, and he gets it wrong in front of the leaders. And he just gets out of the way, and he calls it.
Yeah, you're going to see him really call it a day there. He's really struggling with this place, but you know what? It's TV time nonetheless for the Southern Ontario Dirt Show, so I'm here for it. That's fine. If you can't be out front, you may as well be causing something at the back of the pack, I guess, when it comes to getting sponsorship attention, right, Joe?
That's, hey, it's any airtime is good airtime, or any, what's the line? I'm losing it. I'm too stuck in my modified mind right now to remember the right wording.
I don't know. It's I just think all news is good news. I don't know. I don't know what you're fishing for, Joe, but either way,
I don't know.
Speaking of the catfish, I predicted that Gavin Isley was going to move forward in this race, and he's somebody that hasn't really been able to do so. He's kind of floating there just on the outside of the top 5, but I figured with the way the bottom is and the fact that it's been so tricky, he might be a guy who can capitalize on it, but he hasn't really been able to do so. Dean Reynolds having a great run in the 79, and Jamie Porter right there as well. This is a nice little battle, nice little pack of cars running out on the racetrack right now. We'll see if Isley can work with these final 20 or so laps, I guess less than 20 now, and move his way up inside the top 5, but it just hasn't quite fallen his way in terms of being able to move forward. Now, I don't have the official timing and scoring in front of me, Joe. Maybe you can see. We got issues. Tyler Pacholski and that Dean Meitz. No, that's Jeff Sharp. That's got to be a caution now.
Yeah, that is a yellow.
Involved and stopped. There it is.
Yep. Oh, and was that Tyler?
Right.
Josh Mbowski's headed to the pits here. Okay. Well, let's.
This is a bigger issue than we thought, I think.
Yeah, let's go backwards. Let's see what. Well, Pacholski just went backwards. Let's go backwards even further and see what happens with this two. Oh, we're a little short here. One more click of this button. And. Okay.
Pacholski looks like he's just lost it on his own.
Now, hold on. This is turn number 2. So this is going to develop further.
Okay, so he went around, stacked everybody up. Susie and Pacholski all over each other. Pacholski's going to... Does he get help there, or does he just clip the inside berm? It's tough to tell from that angle specifically.
Well, there's Adam Hilton.
There's Adam Hilton spinning to avoid. I don't know where Josh Mbowski comes in, unless...
That's a great question. What does come of Josh Mbowski? I think he's going to come around.
If it's 2 separate incidents.
I think he... yeah. Oh, yeah, here we go. Oh, never mind. I thought he was going to run over Hilton. No, he just tried to leave the track and missed. Interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're going pretty close to going back to green here. That was a interesting development of a whole bunch of... Actually, never mind. We already went back to green. And... Back at it again from the lead, Cody Higbee. That was a whole slew of things happening all at the same time. And Higbee just gets right back into the motion of what he's been doing. So does Dominic Rosselli, although he's got Ryan Beagle there too. Going to be coming up to 10 laps to go, and whoa, they're getting his squirrely, and the yellow flag is back out. And this time, I don't know who this is going to be this time. We'll have to find out. Oh, I think it's Slate.
It's back at the back. It's Slate?
Here, yeah. Okay, so maybe not quite going to be what you'd expect for a yellow, but Sharp's getting off the throttle down there, and it's going to be Slight into Hilton, and then Pacholski's in. And that's the cause of the, 5th or 6th yellow?
A little piece of it from Nick Sheridan there, too. Yeah, it looked like Al was just trying to avoid just running over the 3 cars. It seems like these guys are having a hard time, and I don't know if this is just a game thing or what it is, if it's some of the tracks that we've seen, but this is not the only race where we've seen these guys having a hard time judging how much speed the car in front of them is carrying through the middle of the corner. Again, I mentioned it earlier, everybody in this game can bomb it into a corner. It's making it stick and getting the car rotated with speed, and I think some of these drivers are guys who would just slam on the brakes and get the car to turn versus maybe gently floating in around the corner, and those different driving styles are contributing to
Whoa.
some of the issues that we're seeing as we see some jam-ups towards the back of the field. Everybody stays clean and green thus far, but it's a little chaotic. Hold on to her, Tyler Pachalski. The hot tamale is all over the racetrack. Things are getting spicy with 8 laps to go.
And back to the front here. I think they've got it figured out in the rear end of it. It's Higbee with Rosselli. The question is, Jonathan, what is Rosselli going to do? Do you think he's going to be able to figure out a way to charge the 97, or we kind of feeling like this might just go by way of Cody Higbee?
The only thing I can think of from Rosselli's standpoint is he's got to snooker him the same way that he got baited earlier in the race. Get to the bottom, make the bottom work, make Higbee think he's got to block the extreme bottom, and then just as Higbee maybe gives just a little bit of a door opening, you got to shoot to the outside and see if you can't make something happen. As we see Pat Reiser off the pace towards the back of the field, and the yellow is back out with 5 laps to go.
Oh, we're going to have a green-white checker here as a result of this. We're going to catch the replay here. I saw his name dropping down the order pretty quickly, and let's bring it backwards and see what happened to the teach, as he's going to be on the inside of Anthony Rosselli, who we really haven't talked about a ton. Actually, you know what? Pat Reiser, he was up there pretty close to the front. Oh, man.
And Porter gets into the back of him. Same thing again. I just think these guys are having a hard time judging the speed of the race cars in front of them as they enter these corners. Porter, it didn't look like Porter hit him that hard, but it was obviously just enough to get the 33 loosened up, and around she went.
That's all it took. It doesn't take much with these cars to go pointed the wrong direction. And, oh boy, Nick Sheridan getting a lap back there almost caused an accident under yellow. Higbee, Dominic Rosselli, Brandon Plank, Ryan Beagle, Gavin Isley. That's your top 5. Green-white checkered attempt number 1. I hope it's the only, but you never know. And it's Higbee, and it's green again, Jonathan.
Good start from Higbee. Good start from Rosselli. He's right there with him. He's got a chance. He's going to get the nose to the inside of the 97. Again, I think he's got to just snooker him, Joe. Bait him, and then maybe take a dive to the outside just like this. Now, if he gets the power down and can get alongside, this could be a race. He's going to need a little help, though. He's going to need a mistake.
Oh, and he's got contact instead, and the Rossellis and Brandon Plank around. The yellow does not come out, and there is not going to be a challenge here, as Cody Higbee is going to get his 3rd race win of the season. Ryan Beagle and Dean Reynolds.
Is it Dean Reynolds?
Yes, it's Dean Reynolds.
Wow, that was chaos from... I don't know if we can grab a replay of that or not, Joe, because of the way we run ETVO and stuff, but that was something. I mean, I don't know what to say other than I think Plank got him, and then everybody just kind of drove into each other because they were all fighting for that inside line. We're going to see here.
Okay.
I really liked what Rosselli was doing here, where he was fading to the outside, showing the outside. I thought he was going to have a run down into the corner, and he's just going to jump on the binders. Plank has to try to jump on the binders. He tags Dominic Rosselli, and it's on from there.
Yep, and then that's where Anthony Rosselli and Gavin Isley get into it. And Rosselli does a really nice job. Actually, I got to give them all credit because they all worked together really nicely. That pretty much the only person who got turned backwards fully was Anthony Rosselli. And then we saw Dean Reynolds drive around the outside. There goes Porter doing the same thing. And Rosselli's going to come up the racetrack. Contact there. There's Adam Hilton trying to get through as well. Rosselli does manage a top 5 out of this. And then Dean Reynolds, that's Dean right there, and Higbee coming back to his line here. This is the checkered flag for him, and it was a bit much to get there, and a tough break for Dominic Rosselli as well, but I don't know. What do you make of that, Jonathan? How do you react to a situation like that as a driver?
I mean, if you're Dominic Rosselli, you barely put a foot wrong the whole race. Could have been a win in your rookie season. And then Brandon Plank, who, we saw Brandon Plank be a driver who had issues with another driver racing him pretty hard. Like I don't even know what to say there, because as much as I want to be mad, if I'm Dominic Roselli, I'm probably pretty frustrated with the 77. What else is Plank supposed to do? You know, you guys are coming down to some of the last corners of the race. If he's got the run, if he's got the speed, you got to drive like that. But again, maybe give and take, another thing that could be better exercised by some of these drivers.
Yeah, yeah. That's a shame. That's a shame for Dominic. I really was looking forward to seeing what he was going to do at the end there, if we were going to get to talk to him at the end of this race. And unfortunately, we are not, but we are going to talk to the three guys who led us to the finish, and we're going to bring the first one in to talk to. We're getting used to hearing his voice. Cody Higbee, this is Joe Donahue. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, Cody, the end of that race was a little chaotic, and you were kind of in a lucky spot that you didn't have to deal with any of it. What was your perspective, and what did you hear or see going on at the end of it?
Yeah, the restarts were a little tricky there. The front stretch is pretty narrow, so I fired off pretty good every restart, and I was able to clear the guy in second. And yeah, I don't really know what happened at the end there, but I know we put on a really good race, and I was really surprised how good this track raced. You know, it seemed like the more slick it got, the better it was. And, you know, I found the bottom lane there early, and I was able to kind of just roll through those ruts there in the middle. And it really paid off for me.
And talk to me about your preparation for this track. Let me start again. How much preparation did you put into the race tonight, with this being a newer track on the sim and the first time this series has ever touched this dirt? Do you feel like you were well prepared coming into it?
Yeah, I've ran a couple laps around the big track and the little track with late models and midgets and stuff, but never big blocks. So it was pretty interesting going in tonight. I didn't have a lot of laps, but you know, it paid off to just run as many laps as I could there in the practice session and just feel how the car was, feel how the setup was, and just get a feel for the track as it changes.
And tell me this, good sir. You've gone 5 races. You've won 3 of them, and you got second in the other 2. What are you doing? How are you doing that?
Yeah, I don't know what it is with this build here, but it really suits my driving style. You know, I usually like a looser car, and a lot of people are complaining that these cars are way too loose and nobody can get traction. So I think it's most fun to spin tires and let her slide than be tight on the cushion all the time.
Well, I think that's just fancy lingo for calling yourself a magician, Cody, but you have done a fantastic job of taking it to the checkered flag here tonight and winning the inaugural race of this series at this racetrack. Who do you have to thank and shout out on the broadcast for the final time of 2023?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. As always, I want to shout you guys out for putting this on. It's always an awesome thing to do in the winter. I just want to thank all you guys, you know, Beef, Matt, you guys for doing the broadcast. It's an awesome broadcast. And I want to shout out Brandon and Dominic there, too. We put on a great race. You know, for a narrow track, we didn't even touch once, I don't think. So that's always cool to run with guys like that.
Absolutely, Cody. Well, hey, congratulations. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you, and we'll be seeing you on the flip side of our winter break.
Yeah, thank you. Happy holidays to everybody watching, and you guys, too.
Thank you, sir. And there is Cody Higbee, your race winner this evening. Fantastic drive from him, as usual, Jonathan. And now we get to bring in the second place driver. I will hand the microphone over to you, and you get to talk to the big dog.
Ryan Beagle, it's Jonathan up in the booth. You got a copy, my friend?
I do.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on this second place run here tonight in the 84. Looking strong. Patience, again, the name of the game for you. Great job managing your race, not getting caught up in any incidents. Talk about keeping it clean and being there at the end when it counted.
Yeah, we were just kind of all on the line there. Cody was kind of checking out on us, but the second, third, and fourth, we were all together there and kind of just waiting for cautions and restarts to mix it up a little bit, and that's how we got to second.
Now, I'm not sure how much experience you had on this race course coming into the night. I know it was kind of new for some of the guys out there, but talk to us about how Kern changed over the run, and was the racetrack very different, similar to the start of the race? How did things change from your vantage point?
At the start, it seemed middle to top was better, and then as it slicked off, you pretty much had to be middle bottom. But it kind of got one lane around the bottom there, bottom middle near the end, and you're just kind of hoping the guy in front of you screwed up a little bit enough to get a run on him. But all in all, it was I thought it was a good racetrack. I don't know, some guys thought it was a little too slow, but that's kind of my pace.
Yeah, fair enough, buddy. Well, enjoy the holidays. Wish you a Merry Christmas to you and yours, and we'll chat again in the new year. Who do you got to thank for the podium to finish out 2023?
Just gotta thank my sponsors: Ackland Insurance, APC Auto Parts, and RK Automotive, and Corby, and everybody puts this deal on. Can't thank them enough.
Congrats on the great run. There is Ryan Beagle, the big dog, with a second place run here tonight.
Excellent stuff from the big dog, again showing how he got that championship last year. He did beat out Cody Higbee. Going to be tough to replicate that. Third place tonight, very much gifted to him. He's got Santa on the side. Dean Reynolds got you in the booth here with us after a third place run. You might have had a little luck with Santa on the side of the car bringing you a gift of third place with that incident on the final lap there, brother.
Yeah, I saw them getting together, going down low, and I said, you know what? I think this is the one time I'm going to go high in 1 and 2. And luckily, it worked out. I'm going down the back straightaway, and I'm in the Discord with the guys. I think I'm going to get third. I had a good car. I mean, I was running about a fifth place car, and I kept on getting shuffled to the back a little bit, getting used up. But it's tough on this short track here and everything. So, we just got a little lucky there at the end, and hey, we'll take it. Some luck finally came.
And talk to me about this racetrack. I know you for your win at Williams Grove, for your strong performances at bigger racetracks. You are a bit good. You're pretty good at dealing with both of the pedals at the same time. But this was a new racetrack tonight. This was a facility that was just recently added into iRacing. And I know you've probably put in a little bit of practice with it, but talk to me about what it's like to bring the whole crew to a new place like this, a track you guys as a group aren't familiar with.
Well, I have had some laps here because another league I run actually ran a whole season here with the modified. So I do have some laps, and that's why I put together a good time. But you got to be. It's like Lincoln. You got to be tough going into turn one because cars they can get sideways, they can slide up in front of you. You got to be on your brake. Like I was behind Jamie there the whole race, and had to get on the brakes a lot, and guys behind me got into me because his entry wasn't that good, and his car would get really sideways. And then I noticed the one time I wasn't behind him, the next restart he got cleaned out a little bit, and then I did get him with 2 to go. I just tapped him, but he just got so far sideways I couldn't really do much, but it was my fault there at that. But it's a tough technical track. You got to keep the car straight. It's quarter throttle. I was getting such a good run in 3 and 4, running the middle, keeping the car straight, and I was getting a run on the outside, especially Jamie. I was outside him like 4 times, and it just wasn't enough room, I guess, for 2 cars on the front straightaway each time. So I did my steering bad a little bit, but we just hung in there and kept it slow. And these were the guys like Cody and Ryan and Gavin. These guys are so patient, so good, so smooth. Brandon too. They're at an advantage on this track.
Well, hey, it seemed like it worked back into your favor by the end of it, and the car looked really good doing it. This is your first podium of the season, Dean, and the momentum is carrying you into a 2-week break, which is always fun when you really get the momentum rolling and then take 2 weeks off. But tell me about what this is going to do for you when we turn the monitors and the computers back on in 2024 for the next race of this season.
Well, hopefully I can get a little momentum going. I had a decent run last week. The setup, I don't know what it is with the full load of fuel. I just haven't felt comfortable all year, and I've been really loose in the corners and really sideways. So I changed my steering the last 2 races to see if that helped, and that helped out a little bit. So maybe we might have something here at the end of the year. I like to get back on the big tracks, like, we don't have Williams Grove, but USA, Charlotte, Knoxville. I want to get back on those tracks because I do like to go fast and run the high side. But, the last 2 weeks have been good, a couple good finishes. I can't run for points because I'm going to miss a couple weeks, and kind of spotted him the first couple of weeks as well. But I like to see how high we can get in points before we go down to Florida and take our break.
Hey, well, we'll be excited to see what you have to do and what other really good-looking race cars you bring to the track. Special livery tonight. And, the cars look almost as good as the guy driving them, Dean. But you got third place here tonight. Who do you want to thank and shout out on the broadcast before we set you free?
The cars are way better looking than the driver. You know that.
Nah.
I gotta thank the guys from Full Throttle Motorsports, the team I belong. They really do a bang up job helping me out with the lines and where to go and keeping smooth. And got to thank those guys. Got to thank Magnum Designs who did this wrap, this one of kind wrap. I got a green car for 358s and a black one for the big blocks. I wanted to bring it out this week and run it all this week in all my leagues. Got to thank you guys at BRPtv and, like I said, the best telecast going. You guys are amazing, and I really enjoy doing it. My father and my girlfriend love watching. I send them the links every week, and a lot of fun there. Got to thank Beef and Matt for running the league. I know sometimes it's not a easy job because I admin a lot of leagues myself, and I know how tough it can get, but I appreciate them giving us a good place to race, a fun league with a lot of good guys, a lot of fun in the Discords, and hopefully BRP will stay around for a while, and I could be part of it. And just like to thank everyone and wish everyone a happy holidays.
A great segue there, Dean. Thank you very much. Happy holidays to you and your family as well, and congratulations again for the podium.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. And there is Dean Reynolds, very classy man, very good at things. Jonathan, as a lot of these guys are, but hey, his good tonight was third place, and that's pretty good compared to some of the others. Whether by fortune or misfortune, that is Kern County. We can bring the final results of the race up now as we have them set to go. We started with 18. We ended with, I believe, 17 of them on the racetrack, but let's get it up. Your winner tonight was Cody Higbee. He did not lead the most laps of this race, but he did do a very good job of getting the most points possible for himself tonight. He's ahead of Ryan Beagle, who beat him in the championship last year, but a half second between him at the end. Dean Reynolds with the third place run at the end of this one. Jamie Porter, fourth place. And Dominic Rosselli should have probably been in the top three, but he's going to have to settle for his second, fifth place in a row. Gavin Isley comes home in sixth place, and Adam Hilton in seventh after that whole debacle. Alan Slight with an eighth place, Jeff Sharp in ninth, and Brandon Plank dropped all the way back to round out the top 10. 11th place for the Teach Pat Reiser, 12th for Dean Meitzler, 13th for Anthony Roselli, unfortunately pointed the wrong way on the final lap. Tyler Joshimbowski finished one lap down in 14th, and Ryan Susi in 15th. Tyler Pachalski 16th, Nick Sheridan 17th, and poor old TC90 called it in about the two-thirds area and finishes 18th on the night. Jonathan, sum it up for me from your perspective. New racetrack for all these guys. I think the racing went pretty well. We had our little span of yellows, but it all came together, and then it all fell apart again on the last lap, too.
Yeah, I almost feel like the incident towards the end of the race on the last lap there, that probably should have been expected at that point in the race. Again, we saw it all race long where guys just were entering the corners at different speeds. We even heard Dean Reynolds touch on it, that Turn 1 was especially treacherous for these guys, and we saw plenty of calamity in that corner throughout the evening. But all in all, I thought it was great racing as well. I really enjoyed Kern. I hope it's on the schedule going forward. I hope these guys take some time to go and get out there and practice it, race it, because I feel like if this was the 9th or 10th time that some of these guys were seeing the racetrack, I think it would be an even better race than what we got tonight.
That's a very good point. The experience that we see with the race cars, and even when we first started doing two races at the same track in a season, because that used to not be a thing. It used to be exclusive to one visit per track. This series really has developed, and the racing had developed a lot quicker when that was happening. So surely with some more time under the belts at Kern County, we could see some really exciting stuff moving forward. But yeah, it's been a great race. So it's a great night to have everybody here with us. We appreciate everybody in the comments and watching along on Facebook and YouTube. My sister, I had to shout out my sister and my dad on the broadcast here. The quote that I was looking for earlier that I was missing is, any publicity is good publicity. So shout out.
That's the one.
Yep. My dad and Maggie for correcting me on my short circuit of the brain. But on top of them, the whole Meitzler gang, I know Dean Reynolds brings people, and then everybody else who comes along with us at BRP TV. We really, really do appreciate that you're spending your Monday nights with us. You get 2 of them off, though. We will be off next week, as literally 1 week from tonight. It is Christmas, so don't forget to get those last Christmas gifts. And then a week after that, we will be recovering from New Year's Eve. So we will have 2 weeks here where we will not be racing, and then we will return for Weed Sport in New York. So that's going to be exciting. A lot of these guys call that a home track. I think that's going to be a great place to ring in the new year with this group. So for tonight, this has been the Beat the Heat night with the BRP iRacing series. On behalf of Matt DeRitter and Corby Daniels running the show, Jonathan Howe aside of me in the booth, all of our partners, MDR Designs, Murder Graphics, Southern Ontario Dirt Show, Creative Turnings, 47 Technology, and Dig Race Products. We want to thank you all for your continued support through these first 5 races. Enjoy the off-season. Don't enjoy the off-season yet. Enjoy the winter break for now, and remember to spend time with your families. Have a safe and happy holidays, Christmas, New Year's, whatever you celebrate, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon, and you'll know when we go live in 2 or 3 weeks' time when we go to Weedsport. So until then, though, have a holly jolly Christmas. It's the best time of the year. Take it easy, everybody. We'll see you next time.